as always, I have the ladies with me. What get in the building?
Yo.
How you doing?
I can't imagine I was in dream world. I was.
Did I mention your name? How you doing?
I didn't even remember what on the show. I'm fine, 2 things. Today is my nephew Made's birthday. He's 29 today. Happy birthday,
He's 29?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Why can't he also tell his age to Nigerians?
Are we supposed to hide it?
29, he's quite young.
Yeah.
He's young, Abby.
Yeah.
Really?
And a very focused young man. Very focused. I know he will not be watching, but maybe people will tell him that
Auntie called out his age on
yes,
TV.
so congratulations, Made.
Fantastic.
And then one more thing. We have our celebration dance competition on Saturday at the shrine.
Yeah.
So all of you ladies, if you don't come, I'm not going to talk to you again.
No, me,
We'll
I'm
be there.
going to Scotland today. I won't be around.
I know that you will be
Yeah, I'm
forgiven.
exempted.
Yeah, I will forgive you half because I know you are traveling, just half. But the rest of you, plus your view pidgin, plus your view English, all of you don't
French.
come.
All of you,
Your view French, if you have your view French and your view.
She just announcing it. She
I'm announcing it. I will put it on the platform.
They have
It's on Saturday, 12 noon, shrine.
Okay.
You don't come, I cancel all of you in my mind.
Hey, girl. Alaja, Nima, Akasha, Zibiri. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's your very added dash okay to this.
Yeah, these are not
Nice.
dress made, but her name just Sakpamidoro. Well, I wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Harriet Ogbobine for the book she sent to me. The book is called Knowing, 23 Keys to Dealing with Issues in Relationships and Family. And if I were to read a book quickly as I read this book, because she made it so easy to absorb, brief issues, examples and how to address issues and how to raise your emotional intelligence, really.
Right.
It's a book I would recommend to anybody. And well written, well structured. Not all these stories about people give me coaching books, but this is a perfect book. So I just thought to mention it because I've read it. This is the 3rd time yesterday, and it's one book that I love reading. It's quick.
Hello, Mariam. Love your outfit.
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to talk about the pants actually. So my husband's pants, and I love them. They will fit. I tried to put them on. They didn't go past my knees, but today I can wear them comfortably with extra space.
Because of
just because of my new lifestyle. So on my upgraded lifestyle. Yeah.
What is it? Can you tell us?
Yes, I've been talking about it. My 75-day challenge. So it's a lifestyle reboot. Time that I wake up, do everything. I have a time that I do everything. So I make sure that I'm putting my exercise, my diet into consideration. Reading, yes. Reading. In fact, YK. So I started off with just walking 10 steps. But now I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. I'm doing Zumba once a week. I'm still doing my skipping in the morning. So I'm just
I'm just
excited.
doing exercise at home. And it's really paid me, girl.
Yeah.
It's really paid me.
When will I start exercise? When will I start?
I even sent her the link. She's just not serious.
The same one you sent me, right?
The same one I sent you.
Actually, the one you sent me, I was using it consistently. I don't know what happened. When there's a break like this, it's difficult to go back.
That's it.
It's the step
So that's
one.
why I try not to break. Even if it's 30 minutes in a day,
Telling
I
you.
just do something.
I'm so
Like
proud of
today,
you, Sha. Well done.
today I woke up quite late, but I still did my skips. So yeah, at least I try to do that. The jump
My
rope.
excuse is that
like
I'm
on
up
a-
every day. Mariam is not up every day like I am.
I am up every day actually. I just don't come here.
Her excuse with Tokwe is that I'm not Tokwe.
She's not
I'm
mate,
not Tokwe's mate.
mate.
Now her excuse is that she's up every day and everybody
We all
else.
wake up every day.
Yes,
We
and
all
I wake up
nobody doesn't
early.
Wake up. The day you don't wake up is wahala. That means you don't go.
Yes.
So we all wake up every day. So my one is, when I wake up, even if it's 4 a.m., I will still do my stomach exercises.
Yes.
Let me tell
Before I
you
come here.
one story. It's
Like
Afojudi.
today.
So Miriam had gotten me this hand weights to help me that I used to work out. And I got finished for it. And I can't even remember why I dumped it. So recently, I've been asking, I'm going to get it myself.
I'm so sorry.
Recently, I went to get because I felt I'm adding some weight I need to do. And the amount I got it is like times 10. The amount Miriam had gotten, I was like, that's the price you pay for sea finish. Just shut up your mouth and buy it.
And I need additional hand weights. I'm using hand weights as well,
Like I'm doing CrossFit.
Which one is
CrossFit is you get to the gym and there are just different exercises you're doing back to back to back to back in a short period of time. It is stressful. I'm like the worst person in that gym right now. But over time, you just get stronger.
No, me, Jean. The road is too far. It is well. One day we'll start. Anyways, let's go on a short break now. And we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We are going to start with The Nation. Non-performing ministers face sack in cabinet rejig. Government to probe Bobrisky's dodging of prison claim. Youth Corps members allowance raised to 77,000 naira. Ladoja and I will realign again, says Makinde. Agency issues fresh flooding alert. Federal government won't dabble into petrol pricing. Kekereakun pledges judicial reforms, tough time for errant judges. And Bello must have his day in court, says EFCC, as ex-governor gets October 30th date. Now, let me start with the major headline. And the reason I'm starting is because yesterday on the show, we had a guest who was a minister. And unfortunately, he came late to the show. And it was like 5 minutes to the end of the show. I said, sir, would you be willing to come back? Let us reshare. He said, no. I just need 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Now I understand, because everybody's trying to also to keep their jobs, because according to the papers, Bayo Onanuga has said specifically, the presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga has said that he has hinted that there is a possible ministerial rejigging by the president. Said the president has expressed his plans to reshuffle his cabinet, and he would do it. He says, I don't know whether he's going to do it before October 1st, but he will surely do it. He has not given us any timelines yet, but he will do it. He has expressed his plan that he wants to do it. So this was yesterday when was being interviewed, and we saw lots of ministers trying to get some airtime just to remind the president of the work they've done. And I mean, it would be great to have Hadiza to see the KPIs that was considered before the imminent reshuffle will be announced. See how
so let me take the CJN. So we have the 23rd CJN now confirmed by the Senate yesterday. So she was before the committee of the whole, and they confirmed her as CJN after she answered all the questions. According to them, acquitted herself of all the questions. It means she did excellently well. Well, so we have the new CJN, Justice Kudirat Kekereakun, and she has a new portfolio for herself. She says that she will be dealing, she will have zero tolerance for corruption, and so she will have a committee within the NJC, that's the National Judicial Council, that will deal with the performance evaluation, and what we do is assess judgments delivered. And also they will have speedy sitting over petitions before the NJC. He said, what I know is that we are even making moves to tighten that performance evaluation process so that we can, when judges submit returns, for instance, and it's not about quality or quantity, it's also about how they carry out their responsibilities. You know, there have been allegations against the Supreme Court justices, especially during elections. We have these conflicting judgments, and some people are alleging different things, but she says she's known for her integrity and her discipline, and that she would not allow under her watch any of such allegations or against the judiciary. So she would make sure that there's continuous evaluation of them. She also expresses her gratitude to the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the National Assembly. And she says that she expressed her gratitude against for them passing the bill of salary increment for judicial officers. She also emphasized her stance against corruption and talked about reducing some of the matters that come on appeal to the Supreme Court because there are so many. She says she would have advised on increasing the number of judges on that bench, but it's not about the number, it's about the kind of petition. So it's about restructuring things that come, kind of appeals that come before them. Okay. And she said, plenty. She has just read The Nation. She has laudable things, and I'm more than impressed about her appointment. Congratulations.
Okay, so I have the federal government will dabble into petrol pricing. The federal government says it will not intervene in the ongoing controversy between the NNPCL and Dangote refinery over petrol pricing. This was said by Mr. Onanuga. He says that the Petroleum Industry Act allows NNPCL to operate independently despite being owned by the federal, state, and local governments. He says that private market NNPCL or Dangote prices too high can import fuel and sell it at a reasonable price that benefits customers. He also said that that, as we know, it's a deregulated market, which ultimately benefits consumers if price war starts. As far as this government is concerned, the PMS regime has been deregulated. Dangote is a private company. We should not forget that NNPCL is a limited liability company. Whatever controversy both of them are having is their problem. So I find that quite interesting, actually. You know, this NNPCL is almost like the Trinity. You know, 3 in 1, 1 in 3. You know, yes.
The more you see, the less you
understand.
You try every
Do you know
day.
that I've removed my mind from NNPC?
I'm just tired.
You say NNPC, I've removed. I don't listen to him.
They seem to be
Dangote
like
them
a
or
cult.
Dangote or anybody else.
Going back and forth.
Shall give us petrol?
Simple.
That's all.
Okay.
Because they will just you turn mad.
The punch. Let's move on.
Sorry, I was going to take the Ladoja.
Oh, go ahead, Waki.
Oba Ladoja turned 80 yesterday. He was greeted by the president through Bayo Onanuga, and my interest. First of all, he was made a first-class Oba. A crown-wearing beaded Oba by the Olu-Ibadan Obadan land on the 12th of August. But then it was him and Ladoja. Ladoja was begging him that Oba Ladoja and the governor Makinde, Makinde was begging him, saying, if I've offended you, I begged you. When I offend you, I begged you. That Ladoja was instrumental, was the midwife that made him governor in 2019, and so he cannot forget that, and that they are going to realign and something. So, you know, we are like, I wonder what caused their fight. Are they fighting?
It was his kinship now.
Long story.
We had to appeal to
You know the story?
We've discussed it
it's always been
in the past. We've discussed it in the past. Let's move on to the punch, because it's not our hot topic today. Because I know you are very interested in getting the juice.
The juice
The punch
of the story.
Cabinet shake-up. Tinubu demands 46 ministers fresh scorecards as lobby begins. Yahaya Bello EFC files fresh 110 billion naira fraud charges. Dangote refinery. Marketers plan direct petrol purchase.
Okay.
FG proposes NIN tax for foreigners. Bobrisky minister orders alleged bribery probe Falana plan suit. Edo poll marred by vote buying and delay, says NBA observers. And yes, which story are we starting with?
Yaya Bello.
Okay.
EFCC have vexed and reduced the charge from 19 to 16, but increased the amount from 80 billion to 110 billion. And this, there are new fresh charges that, you know, was dated to yesterday, September 25. They added that along with one Umar Oricha and Abdusalami Udu, bought 12 houses in various locations in Abuja with the money. And so he, along with the trial, along with those people, have been asked to prepare their defense. The FCC has brought new charges against him, and they're waiting for him to enter matter. I'm just wondering, is this another diversion?
But so those people don't talk, say their money not lost.
They say the money not lost. I'm
So
worried.
where EFCC can see the money we lost now?
If
More you
EFCC
see,
say
the
we
less
lost,
you understand.
charge.
Can we go on a break? When we return, we'll go deeper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria. Employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch story, Raike?
Oh, yes. The Bobrisky story.
Okay.
I think it's our hot topic today, so I'll just... the Minister of Interior has ordered a probe into the controller, the prisons, the correctional center. I think we all know, but I don't want to go into the story because we are...
Details,
So I just wanted to say that the minister...
The allegation of...
he has not mentioned... he didn't mention the allegation. He just said they should investigate the
allegations being...
allegations, and Falana is taking... giving a 24-hour ultimatum to the VeryDarkMan.
Okay, to retract what he said.
Yes.
Okay, any other story? Let me...
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So the Nigerian Bar Association Election Working Group has released a report on the Edo State governorship elections that were just concluded. They said that there were logistical delays, low voter turnout, and instances of attempted vote buying. But they said despite all of these challenges, the conduct of voters and security personnel and the entire election process was generally peaceful. As we know, they are an accredited group by INEC to observe elections, and they were deployed to various polling units. So they said that they were at Bini, Auchi, Gara, Uromi, and Ekoma to ensure comprehensive coverage. They also said that, sorry, here, the mentioned that there were late arrival of materials in some polling units. That significantly hindered the smooth commencement of the voting. They said in areas like Esako West, Esan Northeast, voting began on time, but in other places like Ego Ward 1, there were no materials or INEC officials at all. But interestingly, they said in general, it was a good and peaceful election process, but low turnout.
So the Federal Government's Council, that's at the Federal Executive Council, is proposing an amendment to the National Identity Management Commission Act to allow foreigners living in the country to be issued the NIN, and also they're saying that the bill is to pave the way for the taxing of foreigners living and working in Nigeria. And they tax as they, I'm just wondering. The two proposed legislations are aimed at expanding the scope of registerable persons to include foreign individuals with taxable presence or taxable sources of income in Nigeria, and make provisions for the mandatory use of our NIN number, which are relevant for tax administrations and other related matters. So, well, see how that goes. Moving on quickly now to New Telegraph. Let's find a story we've not taken. Yoga. Other exercises can curb urinary inconsistency, study says. Newly confirmed CJN kicks against corruption, frivolous orders by judicial officers. And presidency, federal government won't intervene in NNPC and go to refinery fuel pricing controversy. Okay, which story?
Yeah, the yoga story. A new study has found that yoga and other exercise regimens might work in controlling urinary incontinence. Researchers at the Stanford University report that 12 weeks of yoga practice reduced incontinence episodes among participants by an average of 65%, the equivalent of taking a drug. So, those of you that have incontinence, if you do yoga for 12 weeks, you will be okay.
Tighten.
Nice.
Yeah. Maria, that's for you. Yoga is very easy.
Okay,
I know you don't have incontinence
hair,
problem,
please,
but
please.
it's still...
Did I complain to you that I have
No, it's not. Yoga is
Why did you
even
mention
good
my
for
own
everything.
name?
No, because you haven't been exercising. You are an animal, you
okay,
don't
we'll talk about
exercise.
it.
I tell you, I exercise.
Is there you did it as you?
I'm not
I
Mariah.
relate to you.
I got some pads for you.
I wasn't even thinking about the incontinence. I was just thinking about the exercise.
That viewers understand.
No, but I even thought she was doing that your menopause fighting.
Vanguard. Panic in 11 states as release of water from Lago Dam begins. 25 observer groups thumbed down Edo election. October 1st protest, #end bad governance. Organizers propose virtual meeting with police. Bobrisky in trouble again for allegedly bribing EFCC officials with 50 million naira. There's a Catholic Church to Tinubu speak out on fuel price controversy. Tinubu won't interfere in Dangote. I think he has already spoken. And FG raises NYSC members' allowance by 133% to 77,000 naira. Okay.
Congratulations to NYSC people. So the federal government has approved 133% increase of the allowance of the National Youth Corps members, starting effective July. So they go back date payments as they enter October. So now money don't fat. Don't worry, because I experienced it when Jonathan was president. When I served, he said this was communicated to the through the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, dated September 25 yesterday, and signed by the chairman, Epoeta. And it will, according to the acting director of Information and Public Relations, NYSC, and the director general, they had advocated a robust welfare package for core members during a visit to the commissioner. So this, of course, would increase the payment that will get to each core member. Congratulations. If you are a core member this season, don't make it. You know what? One thing about core member payments, what I did with mine was gather the money, and I was able to start a business from it. And I was able to compensate my mom. I wanted a gift for my parents from my core member fee alone, because they had increased us to 14,000 under Jonathan when minimum wage went up that year, and I saved a lot of money from it. It's not money that you'll be using to buy iPhone. It's money you save into an investment and start a life.
Nice.
Okay. Different story.
Which
So,
story?
Very briefly, the 25 observer groups have thumbed down the Edo elections. They have said that where they had problem with was with the collation at the centers, and that the election itself was okay, but when it came to collating, there were too many discrepancies, so they have given a thumbs down.
Which is a bit different from the one I just read.
Yeah.
They gave them a thumbs up. But I have the story here. They're saying following torrential rains and, as we know, the recent devastation that happened in Maiduguri in Borno State, as a result of the release of water from the dam, they're asking Nigerians in littoral states. I had to go and check littoral, so just low-lying places. So they're asking that they are at risk of, facing a similar tragedy, as there's going to be a release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. So a warning is being given out by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA. They're saying that 11 states approximately will be affected by this release, and the states that are likely to be impacted are those that border Benue River, including Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Edo, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, Cross River, and River states. So they're advising people in these states, as well as officials of government at all levels, to heighten their vigilance and implement appropriate preparedness measures to mitigate potential flooding impact that may arise due to the increased flow levels of major rivers during this period. So the rivers are definitely, the levels have risen, and then there's going to be water that will be released from the Cameroon Dam. This is double impact.
And the flooding is really getting worse, because we didn't have, one of the papers we didn't have today, I read about the deaths in Ibadan.
Yes.
In Ibadan and
story yesterday.
Kebbi, was it Kebbi?
Okay.
Kebbi states.
The flood already.
They are flooding, They are not getting even the kind of attention that Maiduguri got.
Yeah. So they're just warning people to, leave those areas, and government, I hope government's also putting in place shelters that people can move to, during this period.
So Cameroon is already releasing water, but
yes,
they're already, imagine if they release that once, and it will still...
Yeah, but what we're saying that the levels of the rivers in our country is high. So even that gradual release is the problem.
Okay, I think that's all we can take, because the only story really is all about the cabinet reshuffling. But are you guys looking forward to having... I'm looking forward to seeing if Better Edo will be brought back.
Of course not.
You don't want her back?
It's not
the
better
paper says
she
she's
back.
suspended.
Of course,
she's suspended, but it's
no,
nice
has her matter cleared?
Has not cleared.
I don't know. But
So why
hasn't
don't
heard
bring her
it.
back? They have to clear her name first.
Me, Murayo, I would just like to see her, hopefully, to get another chance.
No, but if they have not cleared
Until her
matter,
name is cleared, I think it's not something we
she
should,
cannot
we
be
should look
brought
forward
back.
to. Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. But we are just querying it just as...
So let me see who else I'm interested in. Okay. Let us go on a break.
Not talk of Bojabi, Amelia, and the BRI.
So I was listening to the radio today,
What
and
happened to him?
in
someone
the
was
Guardian
saying,
now.
What happened to it?
So they're looking at the office of the chief of staff being
For who?
swapped. So the...
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't read the Guardian detail.
Hey, if you have the story, you have a...
Okay, so the suggestion, some offices...
There is Guardian.
No, now
With the
you know, say we were not going to talk about
Yes,
it. Now you
go
did talk
ahead.
this area way.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just brought that up. The office of chief of staff, for whatever reason, is going to be likely. So Guardian is suggesting the offices that will be swapped, and Batunde Raji Fashola might likely take over from the chief of staff. Is being positioned for that, according to Guardian again.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. Let's wait for the list, the rejigging.
They
That
said,
one for
they said
immigration.
ministers are just shaking
They
up
are
and down.
But
They
the
are
Minister
shaking
for
up and-
Information, Interior, I'm surprised that there's because that's a performing minister. So
No, they-
But when they might give him a new portfolio. If you're performing somewhere, they might give you a new portfolio.
they should not disturb his portfolio.
If they give him a new
Portfolio that's
portfolio,
working.
it will be bad if he's performing
well,
where he is.
then you don't put somebody that may
It's
not
about
fit.
putting structures in place. If you have put a structure in place and it's functional without you, I can move somewhere
No,
else.
no,
No.
was
Please
listening to
stay
the
there
radio
and make
today.
sure that you maintain and
Somebody was
sustain
saying,
it.
inside the minister now, that he can't even name 10 that he knows.
We don't
that
know
are
them,
there,
yes.
because
They are
we
not
don't know them,
engaging the
because
people.
they have not been engaging.
The one that
you
is
know.
paining me most is that young man Why
Why is he paying you?
Because I expected more.
What do you mean by
For
that?
whatever reason, I expected him. Pantami was in our faces when he was minister in the same capacity.
Faces
when
doing what?
He was we were constantly querying him, constantly. You are just there. You know, engage. I did not feel him.
Let us calm down.
Let me to find myself.
So who can you mention inside? Just who can you mention inside?
When the president finally...
It's only in Syria, I know.
Inside 46 ministers, tell me the ones you know.
46, are they up to 46?
Because we only know 3 or 4.
Even the ones for
But
states.
at least we know Bosuti Jani, we know his name. We know the
Because he was promised.
We know Keyamo.
Portfolio.
We know aviation.
All of us are on Bande.
In fact, should we make it our hot topic? Nigerians call it, which
Minister do you know?
Allah should be our hot topic.
Let's think about it. Let's go on a break. When we come back, it's Thursday. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant.
Thanks for staying with us. Before we go to our hot topic, he is Mr. Chibuzor Melah. He's the head partnership Palmpay. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
We hear Palmpay, our antenna goes up because fintech companies are kind of taking over. You know, so, and I know you're here because you probably want to tell us more about Palmpay. So give us an idea about Palmpay.
So Palmpay, we pride ourselves as the fastest growing fintech in Nigeria. And that's evident in the numbers that we've churned out within the last 5 years that we started our operations. So far, we have recorded over 30 million users across our platform.
30 million.
Yeah. And,
And
we are home to about 1.1 million businesses now in Nigeria. And I mean, that number keeps growing. By the end of the year, we hope to have crossed over 2 million, where we've empowered businesses to be able to accept payments. We've also enabled some businesses to also be able to efficiently give out cash, become the mini ATM on the streets.
Fantastic.
Okay, so tell us about the milestones you have recorded in this wallet and business platforms.
Okay, so Palmpay started operations in 2019 when we got our license from the central bank as a licensed mobile money operator. And then in 2020, we officially rolled out our first financial product in the Nigerian market. And then in 2021, we got our first, we raised our first seed funding of over $140 million. We also launched our bills payment within that same year. And then recorded, in 2022, we recorded 10 million users across our platform. And then from that, in that same 2022, we also rolled our operations from Nigeria to Ghana. And then in 2023, what we've also done is we launched our savings platform. In 2023, in September 2023 specifically, we recorded over 30 million users and 1.1 million businesses that we've onboarded. And then in 2024, we were recognized by GSMA as in their State of Industry report as a key player in Africa driving mobile money operations, right? And then we also were recognized by CNBC and Statista as the top 250 fintechs in the world globally. And just 9 fintechs were captured in this report. And it's also worthy to know that we're just 3 from Nigeria that are also captured in this report as well.
I wanted to say, some people say that fintechs are, because of fintechs, a lot of fraud is happening. What would you say about that?
I would say it's because of fintechs that fraud have happened, right? What has happened is we've seen an increase in the adoption of digital payments. Now, with that adoption, right, because we've started going into new markets, right? You begin to see new threats to fraud, right, compared to the way it used to happen before. So we've seen new threats to fraud. So at first I said the growth in terms of digital adoption. Secondly is also limited awareness. Right, so with the new markets we're going into, and just not the fintechs alone, even the banks, right? There's limited awareness to customers not understanding what we should watch out for phishing sites, for social engineering and the likes. I also advocate to the economic condition, right? So the more that we continue to experience economic hardship, what happens is that more and more customers are prone to fraud scheme. So you have people see, for example, you hear that, oh, if you put your money here, you could double it by 20% without first asking certain questions, right? People become vulnerable to doing such things, right? But I won't, what has also happened is also wanted to note that the fintechs, the banks are also learning the new trends. What we've also seen is huge investment in terms of improving KYC, improving our cybersecurity, improving deploying fraud. I mean, in Palmpay, for example, we've improved tremendously know your customer, right? We've also invested heavily in our fraud detection. Now we're deploying behavioral fraud monitoring solution that monitors users as they use, and then when there's that spike in terms of transaction, why it raises an alarm to say what's happening here. Is this a genuine transaction or has something changed? Right. We're also raising awareness because it can, no matter how you have deployed efficient solution, if that awareness is not there, people will continue to fall for fraud trends. And then, I mean, in this year, the CBN has also, CBN and law enforcement have also helped tremendously. We've seen they've been effective in terms of the monitoring, in terms of rolling out policies to govern the way that fintechs and banks operate in this year.
Okay, could you tell us about the new USSD service that you just rolled out, and how does this benefit users?
Okay, so we recently launched our USSD star 861. For us, it's a great achievement because it helps us to go into new frontiers. In the last 5 years, we achieved our numbers leveraging purely digital mobile apps. But now we're going into the feature phones. We want to be able to get to the last mile. We want to be able to get to those rural communities, have them be able to transact efficiently and effectively. A lot of persons have not embraced financial product because it's been very cumbersome. But what we've been known for is to demystify payments. We've been able to simplify how you're able to make payments from person to person, how you're able to pay your bills. I mean, if you've never tried paying your bill on Palmpay, I think you should, because when you're buying airtime, you don't need to pray, you don't need to hold your breath. If you're paying for discos, even as we're all in bad A now, you don't need to hold your breath. You are almost certain that you will get your token, right? And I mean, you
Really?
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't want
Anybody
to.
can pay. Anybody.
Anybody.
Use it.
Well, you have to, with our USSD now, it means you can just with any phone, you can dial. But if you're not a Palmpay user, then you probably need to get onboarded as a Palmpay user to be able to do that. But what is also worthy to note is that what we're driving on our USSD is accessibility, convenience in terms of payment, and then we want to be able to reach the last mile. Whether irrespective of the kind of device you're using, you're able to make payments efficiently.
Fantastic. That's interesting. So, I mean, I like that. I like you giving us some of the benefits of this. Are there any other benefits that that the USSD can provide for us?
I think I missed one part: security. So, I mean, with the getting to new markets, there's also then talk about security, right? To be able to protect these new users from fraud. So, we're also deploying in terms of the behavioral monitoring solution that we've deployed to the USSD to be able to also monitor what's happening there. I mean, the CBN has also put limits in terms of transaction amounts that you're able to do to also reduce the exposures to fraud. What we're also doing is to improve KYC, right? So that
What is KYC?
know your customer. So as small as your tier 1, you are able to at least use your NIN. So at least we know one of the major problems is who is that person that perpetrated that fraud. So right now with NIN, you're able to know, okay, this is the owner of this account. So once you onboard with our USSD, we're able to identify you as Chibuzor or as whoever you are using that platform.
You also mentioned something briefly. You talked about for all kinds of devices, you're trying to make sure that anyone can use the USSD service. So even if you don't have a smartphone, is this something that you're working on? Can you elaborate on that, please?
So with our USSD, right, you don't need a smartphone anymore. If you don't, I mean, with a feature phone, with on the street they call it Palasa. With a Palasa phone, you are able to transact efficiently. I mean, today, if you look at the vulcanizers, the tomato seller, they all have Palmpay accounts, right? So what happens to that tomato seller that doesn't have a smartphone? How should I make payments? So with that, all you need to do is just dial *861. You get your account number, and you're ready to receive payments. I mean, you could get transfer from any bank to that Palmpay account. You get your alert real time, and where you need to move money seamlessly, you are able to move money. And the bill payment that every of our users have enjoyed on our platform, right? You can also make such payments via that USSD with your kind of phone.
So let's talk about security for those people. You know, most of them are not. To use a smartphone means that you're a bit smarter.
Yeah.
And so the fish seller, for instance, who has a USSD account can be prone to fraud as well because they can just leave the Palasa phone somewhere. What are the security features to ensure that they alone can access their account via that USSD?
Okay, so there's one part, right? I mean, when you dial your USSD, you're expected to create your PIN, right? And so one thing you also know is that Palmpay or no other user will ever call you to ask for that PIN, right? So as much as you secure that PIN, right, your account is secured, your transactions are secured, right? In addition to that, because it's it rides on the USSD platform, right? What we've also done is to cap the kind of transactions that you can do. So per transaction, you're not able to do more than 20,000 naira at a time, right? And then there's also limits in terms of the number of transactions you can do in a day. So it also limits the exposure that you can also get from such platform.
You know, one of the things that people fear fintechs for is they don't have office. Because I was praising a fintech the other day, and then, they don't have office, so I said,
You don't know where to go and knock
so,
on their door.
so please enlighten people. This is what the normal banks used to tell us. No, don't follow fintech.
They don't have
Follow
office.
us. We have office. Do you have office?
I mean, our office, we have a customer-facing office at number 20 Okwebi, right? And then we also created offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, where you are able to come there physically to lay complaints. However, on our app alone, right, you don't necessarily even need to come. If you have a chargeback and you want to raise a chargeback, you can do that on our app. The agents that you see are mini branches of Palmpay. So as long as you are branded a Palmpay, you are a mini branch, right? It shouldn't be, I mean, today, the banks have not gone everywhere. It's not about building it. I mean, today we are talking about rising costs. We're talking about the cost of paying NEPA bill, the cost of diesel. So as much as possible, we need to reduce that cost. However, be available to the customers.
So how do you help arrest, for instance, if a lien had been placed on an account, how do you help arrest the accused, for instance, since you don't have office?
No, so I mean, it's in collaboration with the law enforcement. So today, for example, we're also doing address verification, right? So we know our customers, we know where they stay. And where the law enforcement or the court has said, provide this information, we always comply.
We have to wrap up with you, but so somebody's listening to you right now, they want to join Palmpay. What's the first step? What do they do? Is there a number they can call?
So 2 ways, right? I mean, you can dial *861# follow the prompt, and you get the Palmpay account. Alternatively, you can go to iOS or Google Play Store, search for Palmpay, and you download our app.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chibuzor. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
That is all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we'll move to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Place to work.
Thanks for staying with us. It's Thursday. We love to discuss family life issues. And today, one of the major trending topics today is about the Nigerian crossdresser Bobrisky, who has been alleged to have gotten away from staying in sentence at the prison, because according to a blogger, Mr. Martin Vincent Ose, popularly known as VeryDarkMan, has alleged that Bobrisky actually had paid 15 million naira to a prison controller to get an apartment next to the prison. That was what the VeryDarkMan had alleged. Also, after the allegation, obviously, the EFCC have instituted investigation on his allegations. Also, the Minister of Interior has also instituted an investigation to the allegation of the fact that Bobrisky was not allowed to complete his sentence in the prisons. Now, there are so many angles to this story, and the reason why we're talking about it is because it raises quite a bit of questions. Issue of corruption in our system, issue of the fact that some people seem to are more sacred than others. We know that this has happened with politicians. I mean, but sometimes when it happens to certain people, we have to think about it twice again. And obviously, there have been so many angles to this story. The other angle, there was a different angle. Please remind me, there was another angle where, yes, Mr. Femi Falana,
Yes.
who's an SAN, according to VDM again, had alleged that there was a situation where he had offered to help him get a pardon, a presidential pardon for that matter, at a cost. Now, these are all allegations. Of course, the lawyer has immediately sent a letter demanding a retraction the next 24 hours, saying that Bobrisky had called out for his son, that's Mr. Folarin, that's probably known as Falls, and asked him for his assistance. And obviously, he helped him and said, listen, the best we can do for you is see what happened. Falls said that he's asking for money, and he has refused to even give him the money. So Falls didn't even confirm if there was any conversation on 10 million naira or not. But the point is, as I said, this situation has raised quite a bit of dust, because now the major agencies are investigating. We are waiting to see what happens. But we'd like to hear Nigerians' thoughts on this. You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-0764-1679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. This, as I said, is a hot topic everybody's talking about. People are passing around the videos. Nima, let me let you go for it, because you're the lawyer amongst us, and I know you'll be able to set the pace on what's been said and what's going on out there.
Okay, at least as much as I know about it from the VDM episode, thanks to my husband, I usually don't follow them because it can be quite... no, I don't know. I'm not interested in that. They're back and forth. Sometimes they're just playing games amongst themselves, and you'd have wasted time. But my husband was on top of it, saying that, there's allegations that are very damning about our institutions. And that worried me. So I listened in. As much as it is for now, they're still basically allegations, so we'll leave them as allegations. But VeryDarkMan's allegation of, shots, how will I put it, cutting corners in the system should worry us as a nation. And I like the fact that immediately investigations have started within the EFCC, also within the Ministry of Interior, especially in the correctional, what's the proper word? Our custodial and correctional facility, and whoever heads it in Abuja right now. So VeryDarkMan had, for whatever reason, gotten hold of an audio where Bobrisky, the basket mouth Bobrisky...
We don't know if the audio is even forged, because these days... AI
I would rather it's forged, but
so.
I have reasons to believe that it's true.
Okay.
I tilt towards believing the audio. I listened to it, he played it, I listened to it, and I have reasons to tilt towards it. I feel that, there's something they call in Edo, someone in a bad market, that kind of person, because people get helped every day, but they help Bobrisky now, reach a ton, Abi ton, or Hashim ton.
Them ton.
Everything scattered, and so everything, she just kept ranting like a bird. In the audio, she allegedly paid for a charge to be reduced within the EFCC. Charge reductions happen every day. As a law student, the first thing I learned was how to draft effective or defective charges, how to take out some charges. So if somebody can come on a plea bargain and they'll say, okay, we'll drop this charge for you as opposed to this. But whether payments are done for it is something I, as a lawyer, have not experienced within the system. So they drop charges every day, nothing new about it. You can be arrested this morning and prosecution, the investigating officer can look at the case, go to their superiors and they'll say, okay, let's drop this and give a warning. Even within the NDLA, all our security agencies can decide this person, for whatever reason, let's not pursue this. If he comes as a returning offender, then they can decide, oh, this person is criminally minded. But not every day they arrest you, you go to, no, that's not how it works. So charges can be dropped every day. But he is now saying, you know, it can also be just a boastful thing. That I paid for my charges to be dropped. You know, it can be it can be exaggerated. Maybe you gave a gratitude package and you say, no, to tell your friends so that he can carry weight. You can say, I pay 10 million, 15 million, just so that we carry weight, so it's possible.
Somebody else is
continue later.
Your thoughts, Miriam, or why you want to jump in?
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to say the VeryDarkMan didn't make the allegations. What he did was he played the tape. Everybody else has concluded the allegation. He just played the tape for us to hear, and we have all now said, this is what happened. Of course, yes, he said he's worried about the Correctional Center and the other one, EFCC. Their own role. He did say that, but I think, because I listened to the tape yesterday, and it was this tape that he played that made all that we all concluded these allegations. Because I've also watched a video where they asked him to come in to EFCC and says he's not going because they will arrest him.
He doesn't trust them.
And he doesn't trust them, you know. So what people are saying is, should it be him that should be called in, or should it be...
Well, YK, online is not a police... Well, online, what we have to educate Nigerians, online is not a police station. For every situation, you must physically write a statement, officially write to the agency involved. It's not by everybody's video that posts, and then that's the agency that's running helter-skelter. There's got to be a formal complaint. If there's no formal complaint, they can't move.
So that means they shouldn't investigate.
Well, the agencies have gone ahead to investigate, but there are choices too. But the right thing for Nigerians to do, if you're going to make an allegation, right, you should write a report.
So sometimes you publish.
Yes.
If you have evidences, sometimes you publish before you go.
Okay, so he has published.
So that your evidences are not buried. So what he did is published. There's nothing wrong with what he's done.
But shouldn't he now report officially to the police?
But then, that I do not agree with him saying I will not show up. I think what he should do, now that he's published, is have a team of lawyers ready on standby to ensure that they are doing the right processes, motions before the court to get him out in case of any victimization. But we know how the system works. Fisayo Shoyombo, a legitimate journalist, carried out an underground investigations of our custodial system, then prisons, with mics and video and evidences, and uncovered a very, very strong team of corruption when the Minister for Interior was Aregbesola, and nothing came out of it. And so, you know, that kind of distrust of the system is blatant. This is the time when they should be doing laundry, image laundry, extreme one. Right now, with what he has published, that's what VeryDarkMan has published. Right now, they should carry out investigations with names and scapegoats. People who will be held account of any misdoings under their watch. That's how it should be.
Let me come to you, Mary.
Okay, so, my thoughts. So, for me, I don't want to, burden myself with the technicalities of who should have spoken, who should have gone to the police, who shouldn't have. But, from the audio that we listened to and the allegations that were made, unfortunately, being fully Nigerian and having lived in this country my whole life, it didn't come as a shock or a surprise to me. Something that we're dealing with a lot in this country. The accusations or the allegations against EFCC, shockingly, not shockingly and not surprisingly, this is not the first time I've heard of EFCC officials being involved in some corrupt practices like these. So for me, it's just another incident where a light has been shown on something that probably or allegedly is going on within the EFCC and how they are handling some of these matters. And so for me, you know, I would hope that in this particular case, we're able to properly investigate. And I hope that it's an independent body that investigates this case. And now this is not just about dragging Bobrisky or dragging VDM or anything. It's just about the health of our nation in general. Right. You know, we need to know that the people who have been put in place to protect us, you know, from financial fraud and all sorts of things are actually doing their job. And if there are bad eggs within the EFCC, please, we would like for them to be flushed out. For me, I don't care about the banter and the who is saying something against somebody and who is chasing clout. Right. For me, is that Nigeria, if this is true, Nigeria is in big trouble. Yeah. And what are we going to do to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
There are two issues for me. I mean, now the story itself, we've talked about it. But there are two critical things that nobody is talking about that I think is so crucial for us to discuss. First thing is, if indeed what they've alleged EFCC did, the weightiness of a money laundering case. Money laundering in many countries is like is a serious crime. It's not something you push on the counter or you tell somebody I'll drop it. You don't drop money laundering charges like that. It's a huge deal, number one. Number two, a money laundering charge is, in this situation, again, if I'm trying to choose my words very carefully here, because this is, I was going to connect it to what Seun Kuti had said in his video, or suggest, I'm not sure he even said it, but it was suggested that entertainers, for example, live lifestyles and we admire so much. But the truth is that many of them cannot afford the lifestyle they live. And I'll connect that to the fact that the second issue is that according to this video, to this audio, the person in question, the cross-dresser, was unable to cough out 15 million from his own account. This is somebody that we see the flamboyance, we see the lifestyle, we see the party, we see the maker, and you're thinking, oh my God, this guy has a lot of money. But then he needs 15. And he couldn't say, okay, let me send it to Mariam, send it to Nima pay FCC or whatever. I mean, the point is that the fact that I'm trying to make a point. Yeah. The fact that somebody was unable to have that money shows automatically, first of all, he doesn't have that kind of money. Now, what does that mean? According to linking again to what Seun Kuti has suggested, that many of these celebrities, possibly all these entertainers that we see that are flashy, may be possibly be involved in money laundering possibilities. Now, if there's a money laundering case, if EFCC has said, according to this video, that there's that's a major issue we should be focusing on. Yeah. With all this spraying, and they said that is besides the point. Where is it being laundered from and to? Yeah. That's the real question.
Okay, so sorry, I just wanted to correct you. It's not that he didn't have 15 million in his account.
It couldn't be.
It's because he was under investigation.
The account
was
frozen.
Okay.
According to that's what I heard.
Because according to what I heard, it seems as if he just didn't have the money.
But even then, he didn't pay the 4 million. You know, he had borrowed money and came out. So there are many
that's
things
allegation.
we're
not even sure. Yeah.
For this one, I would need to write because that guy is a complex somebody. So number one is that yes, it might be a money laundering circuit for some businesses, for anybody. The EFCC should have investigated that, but I do not believe. It's not like I have utmost respect for the EFCC right now, but I do not believe that the EFCC will get a lead on such a thing and drop the charges. The possibility why they will drop the charges for me is that, yes, influencing is a new business. It's not law, it's not engineering, it's not medicine. It's not something that will understand how it works. You know, it's just like picking up a fintech person on the road or a tech. My younger brothers in tech are in money that they, for their age, is too much, according to because what they are earning, they constantly churning out apps and making money or selling it that we should not be able to, they cannot explain for their ages. So, but if a policeman were to see them and their account balance and ask them, what do you do? I'm a tech guy. They will arrest them this Yahoo. That's what it means. So if you arrest somebody like Okuneye, who is an influencer, and yes, maybe he gets paid 5 million, 10 million, and has 100 million in his account, you will want to talk to him. But if at the course of investigation, it is clear that these were payments from influencing, and people pay for influencing. Do you understand? So these were payments from influencing. You will be willing to drop such a charge if the lead to a proper money laundering is not tight.
Okay.
But
So
the fact,
that's a good point.
for me, the fact that he paid for that dropping of the charge, he allegedly paid, is something that worries me. You know, because people with criminal intent will say, I'm willing to pay. And that should not be allowed. Except, you know, if you don't have a clear substantive evidence out of the money laundering itself, you willingly drop that charge. You should drop it for nothing.
Nothing, exactly.
But you know, I agree with you and you as well. It could mean that there's money laundering happening. It could also mean that he was able to explain where, you know, he's been getting his funds for. But I also know of Nigerians who are intimidated usually, you know, places like this to drop money. So even though maybe there's a clear case showing that there's no money laundering, but you're intimidated and they're saying, well, there's nothing we can do. We've seen it so many times in small, small cases like you are driving through a particular road that a sign hasn't been put, and then to let you go, they say, okay, bring something. You know you're not wrong, but you know that the way to live is, you know, I dropped something. So all these are just different scenarios that could have happened. And I guess with investigation, we will find out. But is there money laundering happening among people who we see living a very big lifestyle? And somehow, you know, when you dig just a little bit beyond the surface, you just can't find anything that shows that this is how they're earning their money. We have quite a number of people like that. And it became such a thing that, you know, we used to call it small girl with big God sort of thing. Or if you try to raise your voice or ask questions, they say you're jealous. You know, many times we've seen not just
for me,
unexplainable.
It's what I want us as Nigerians to focus on, because a lot of young people are drawn in by a lot of opulence we see on social media. And Nima is right. Many of them could actually have that money because people are paying millions for influencing. But the truth is that if the money they are earning and is it proportionate to the lifestyle they're living, the houses they're buying, the cars they're driving in. So you have to look at it very well, because
it's a make-believe business for influencing. For someone like Okune, even the birthday cake, or they will put the halls, everything. It's a make-believe.
Exactly.
If it's this cup, I want to highlight it, it will look like a tank. As an influencer, I'll make it look like a tank. It must give you pepper them. So that's where he gets in trouble. That's where he is forced. Imagine him being remanded in a male custodial center instead of the female one. But he's in the business of telling people, I'm a female, you know, make believe. Lie it, fake it to you, make it kind of something.
Never make it, just faking it.
But never make it, continue faking it. So that's the business of make believe.
My question again is, if after investigation, is it possible that the controller would tell us that he actually stayed in the prison, going by how he looked when he got out of prison? Because everybody
spoke about how he looked.
He was looking like someone that went to
see that one. Let me even start from where I believe that story from. So when he went to court, he went with a traveling bag. The picture of that traveling bag, I will find it and send it to the group. As in 3-step traveling bag with the small tooth bag, like he was at the airport. And he came to court like that. Was he going to be bathing and changing clothes? Because I do prisons visit a lot. Was he going to be bathing and changing clothes and rubbing cream in the prison? Because that one confused me. So when this video came out yesterday, I was like,
makes sense.
It's like I know. It's like I knew from time. Because he
we all saw how
he went in a privileged way. I just felt that one. Then when he came out so fat. He did not involve in any of those prison activities. When you go to prison, for these people to even get a bit of rest, they have to go to the churches and the mosque. And sometimes to get food, they have to join the religious interventions that come weekends. So it's a tough place to be. It's not one place that somebody goes and the head is bigger than the body when he come outside. Sorry for my, you know, the way he came out like he was pampered. So for me, without any doubt, I would not believe the custodial, what's the head of the custodial, controller general of the custodial center without video evidence. And I doubt that they have CCTVs within the prisons. Without proper video evidence, I won't believe.
Made me a bit suspicious then was when James Brown went to see him. And but he didn't see him. You know, he stayed there. He was taking pictures with the prison.
He didn't want to see him.
He came to see Bobrisky, but he didn't see him. He didn't get to see him. So I wondered at the time,
what happened?
Why wasn't he allowed? Because you're allowed visitors in prison.
Yeah, but they're not friends.
But they're not friends. That one went to gloat.
That one went to...
So that's why this
what is worrying is the videos coming out. There's a new guy who posted videos yesterday, an audio saying he was chatting with him at the time, and he had pictures at the time, dated pictures and audios dated, you know, showing that he was chilling somewhere better. And he was so boastful. I was like, oh my goodness.
All right, so I guess we can wrap up on this because pretty much it's really just...
We didn't talk...
What does the angle?
Yeah, the other angle, which is the Falanas involvement. A lot of people are looking at it as if the lawyer himself committed a crime. For me personally, I think he just provided services. Yeah. Everybody has the right to a lawyer, and your lawyer will provide you services. That's how I see it. And of course, dealing with lawyers, when you make some allegations, they are, you know, they would respond immediately. So that's the only place I would say VDM should have put that into consideration. Knowing that these are the sort of people he will be dealing with.
Is there sorry to cut you off. Ma'am, is there a moral question to be answered where people say, okay, the kind of the person, in case it happened, because we are hoping it didn't happen, you know, is it possible? Let me rephrase my question. Is it possible for any lawyer at that level be of an SAN? Is it possible for a lawyer to say, okay, let me find you a presidential pardon for spraying? I mean, because if I was an SAN, would I be willing to say, okay, YK, you've been sentenced 6 months for spraying? Would I go and look for presidential pardon? Is that something? I'm just asking. Is that something worthy of a presidential pardon? Because there are people in prisons that need presidential pardons. Like real presidential pardons. So I'm just thinking. I'm not questioning about the SAN in question. I'm just saying, talking about it generally. Yeah. Is that something worthy? Is there a moral question to say, okay, no, I won't go and be looking for presidential pardon for that. Please serve your sentence, or okay, let me see what other...
Okay, so from what I understood, it's not that he did not serve his sentence. He just does not want the ex-convict on his head. And from what I understood, it's not that there were other options. Like, that's the only way you may be able to get the ex-convict taken away from your name.
That's actually...
So that was the only thing. And talking about moral... question. For me, as the lawyer, I would look at other cases where people who have done the same thing have sort of gotten off scot-free, or they paid a fine, or the community service. For spraying of money, I think it was a bit too much, what the sentence that was given to him. I believe it was too much. I believe that he would have gotten community service, any other thing, because it was a first-time offender. That was the first time that you had caught him. And not so long after, especially that not so long after, another big personality was seen that way, and he got off by paying a fine. So I can understand how a lawyer would say, okay, because I agree to this may have been too much. Let me see the only way that you can get a pardon for that. So, but for the money laundering, I don't think that was what was on the table.
Speak in defense of Femi Falana, you know, because I know him, and I do not think he would be involved in any...
Of course not. Now you're tasting a bad market person. You know, so I read the pre-action notice of files, you know, and I think that here, is somebody reaching out? So Femi Falana, yes, is an SCN. He doesn't believe or play in this, but his son is an artist and plays in this circle. So Bobrisky is just privileged to have access to the SCN through his son. Yeah. And the son said in his reaction that he reached out. He reached out to him. I don't want to read the whole notices. When somebody reached out to you, now pardon is the only thing that gets you off the list as an ex-convict. And you know, an ex-convict is limited in the kind of things they can pursue nationally. You know, as a deterrence in our system. And what he went there, just as Miriam said, even at the time when he was prosecuted and convicted, we sat on this table and I took the stand that no, Bobrisky was just, you know, picked. It's a crime everybody does. It's something that was minimal, but to place an ex-convict title on him after is something you will willingly pursue a pardon for. Now you will pursue it through a firm that you know can access and get it.
And that was the Falana.
Yes, and so the prestigious practice that he runs is one that you willingly go. It's just that this mouth again, you know, they shut up. You know, that's the only problem.
We have to go on a break right here because I have to get our callers.
They still call him ex-convict too.
No, he finished. They didn't get the pardon now.
They didn't get the pardon. No, so he didn't get that pardon.
So let me go on a short break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines for our viewers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7. Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining the conversation, it's our Thursday. We have a guest co-host with us here. She's a graduate, not a co-host, a guest. She's a graduate with high honors from the Harold Washington College and Business Management degree from University of Phoenix in Chicago. She is passionate about business designs and advancement leading to sustainable growth and development for African women, and she continues to build and mentor young girls and women across the business ecosystem. So she's joining here today because she is the owner of the premium coffee, Happy Coffee, and the convener of the Lagos Coffee Festival. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Princess Adeyinka Tekena.
Thank you.
So, good to have you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your coffee later because I know you're into coffee and I love coffee. But first of all, we're discussing Bobrisky before you came in because, we're having different angles, and I'd like to open our phone lines for our viewers to call in. 08107641679, 09024163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweet. Remember, this is your view. We're not talking about the people. We're talking about the issue around the people. We don't try to castigate people. We focus on the issue. So the issues around is the possibility of money laundering charges, the possibility that somebody was paid 15 million to do that. The possibility. So these are the issues that we're discussing. And if in the fact it happened, how do we prevent it going forward? Because what can the government do to nip it in the bud? What were your own thoughts when you heard about this story?
I mean, looking at social media and all the allegations flying around, I like to believe all the parties involved need to, and I like the fact that yesterday there was also news by the government trying to investigate this. I like to leave things to investigation. I know that people might not be too comfortable with the outcome of whatever it is, but there has to be an opportunity for the entire matter to be looked upon from every angle. Yeah. And that's where I don't like to jump into any kind of conclusion on what happened.
I like that.
Yes.
It's good to know that. Okay.
I just wanted to say, you know, the parties that need to be investigated are the EFCC and the prisons.
Absolutely.
Those are the people that we need to...
Very important.
They leave every other investigation. Those two bodies, investigate them. Leave every other person, whether it's Kinekon gave him 2 million or Kinekon gave him 8 million.
That doesn't concern us.
That doesn't, it is
our system.
Yes.
Let me take this call from Madeyemo, calling from Makodi. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, my lady.
Good morning.
That's upbeat.
Thank you.
I want to comment on this Ukulele issue.
Yeah.
In fact, the VDM, what they have done is really of great help to Nigerian if it can really be properly checked. Because, like the other time I went to our correctional center to do a program called Practice Mother Guidance and Counseling. What is going on there is not something that we will be proud to say this is Nigeria. I say everybody that is involved should be brought up to safety. It should not be swept like the other cases that most times whatever happened in Nigeria, everything will go down the drain. Please let them check so that it will serve as a deterrent to all those other people that are involved in all this kind of shit.
Okay, thank you very much. So there's also the angle of the comments people are making on social media. People were like defending, saying, "Oh, leave this person alone. They didn't kill anybody." You know, people did not focus on the possibility of a charge here. They were just saying, "Leave this guy alone." What are your thoughts of the thinking of Nigerians where on social media? How did that make you feel?
No, it's a difficult thing because, you know, everybody's reacting immediately to what they're consuming immediately. At the time when Bobrisky was convicted, you know, the other guy, Cubana guy, was not convicted of the same money, spray money, something. And so Nigerians took a stand of pity for him and all of that. But seeing how he's comported himself post-events is something that we confuse some people. So some will be like, just leave the guy. You know, he really didn't do anything. And some will be, they are reacting immediately to it. But what I would like Nigerians to do is keep an open mind post the investigations. For me, whether or not we like it, some officers within the EFCC and within the custodial center must be brought to book on this for being involved for anything. If you find any transfer, any sort of money linked to them, somebody must be brought to book for Nigerians to believe and accept what is happening in investigations. But can we also keep an open mind post-investigation such that we would leave people to be, because I see the Falanas being dragged, the entire record, years of excellence and records being dragged in. Now, lawyers engage every time, and fees for lawyers can vary. You cannot bring an SAN on your matter and expect them to be charging what NIMA is charging. No, if it is 10 million is charging, that's what it's worth. You know, but Nigerians now, the way VDM has played it, is like, oh, why would the Falanas, why would the SAN have asked for money to prepare an application for pardon?
But they haven't. They've not even responded to that, because the truth is that that may not have happened in the first place.
Even if it was,
it never happened.
Even if it had happened, if they have their papers, are you going to query what they have charged? Because one person is making it seem like, oh, I spent a lot of money. You know, because what the Okune guy is just doing is letting people know I spent a lot. That's what he's just busy
But
doing.
you see, we have to remember, he's not letting people know. It was a private phone call. The person
it's people that he's telling.
that he was
So
talking
that is
to.
another angle, YK. Why would somebody release a private conversation and even press record? Why would you even record a private conversation between you and somebody? Isn't that unfair?
Isn't
That
that
in
blackmail?
itself, that's blackmail. That in itself is wickedness. Of
It
the
might
highest
not
order.
be. Because, what's his name? Okuneye is owing him money. And he has asked him to pay. And then he flipped the script. According to what I heard from the audio, according to what VDM alleged, he flipped the script. Evidence of those chats were placed on that video as well. Where somebody is saying, I've given you 4 million, give me my money back, I need it right now. You told me when you get out, give me the money. You now, when you were supposedly in prison, claimed that you couldn't access your money. So you needed money. And you were now giving money and post it, you have come out, and where you're supposed to be able to access your bank accounts now. Instead of saying, I still can't access my bank account for any litigation reason or legal.
Be criminal.
Wait now. You then insist that you are not owing money, and then you flip the script and said, and brought like a stain of gayism of homosexual on that person, where you are now blackmailing the person and saying, when you touch me, when you diss me, when you that me, did you pay?
So,
did you ask? So that such a thing would force a person. He could have a defense.
So really, when you communicate or interact with people that lack integrity, all these sort of things happen.
Yeah.
So first of all, this is someone that had recorded the call, obviously never trusting the person he was having a conversation with. Right. And the fact that Mr. Idris is also trying to, slip away from paying back his debt shows you too he's the man that lacks integrity. So these people know themselves, they know their weaknesses, and so they lay traps for each other so that in cases where they will have to protect or defend themselves, there's evidence. Now, I know you said that it is unfair to record, and I agree. I always feel that you cannot be my friend and tell me you have secretly recorded my call. But the truth is that many criminal activities are so much hidden that these sometimes are the only ways that we can find, the truth about things. We would never have known or even discuss whether Mr. Idris was in prison or never in prison, or if he was just chilling in an apartment beside the prison. We would never have known. But now he's out. And for me, even though the process of getting the information may have been wrong, the bigger picture, the bigger issue here is the state of our custodial services and our EFCC, and digging out and investigating those bad eggs, and, let's deal with that.
I'm going to wrap up on this because I'd like us to move on. But do you want to say anything, or you?
No, I think you've said everything.
I just wanted to say one more thing. I just wanted to say, you see, where it's just the injustice of everything that is what I don't like. I don't like the fact that this person was jailed for
6 months.
6 months for spraying money. Many people have come after that and sprayed money. Nothing has happened to them. So, someone that was charged was freed. And till today, I was speaking to a TVC correspondent. He said he goes to parties, they are still spraying till tomorrow. So was it a witch hunt?
See, those are the issues.
That's my own. That's where I find it unfair, and I really hate this matter. I really hate that this matter is.
I mean, we have to wrap up on this, but I think really, I think as our guest has said, let's wait for the investigations to be concluded and then know what happened. But as it has raised quite a bit of dust, all the newspapers are carrying the story, all the ministers have responded. We have EFCC boss also has responded, and they've ordered an investigation. So we hope to see some kind of a response, a thorough investigation done to be sure, especially regardless of what happens. What's at the heart of this matter is that two of our key systems, the EFCC, who's supposed to fight financial crimes, and the prisons, supposed to keep criminals away, may have been compromised. Yeah. Let's go on a short break now. We'll come back with our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting, as the arts are meant to be.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Entertainment to me is everything. Entertainment is surrounding myself with loved ones, family, watching some good television shows, TV series, listening to good music, and taking a trip around the world, seeing new places and interacting with different people, and also having a feel of different culture and people all around the world. So for me, I would say entertainment is life. It's larger than life.
Muhammad Ali was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky on January 17, 1942. His birth name was Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. He began training as an amateur boxer at age 12, and at 18 he won a gold medal in the light heavyweight division at the 1960 Summer Olympics and turned professional later that year. In his early years as a professional, Clay was more highly regarded for his charm and personality than for his ring skills. He sought to raise public interest in his fights by reading childlike poetry and spouting self-descriptive phrases like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. On February 25, 1964, at age 22, he pulled off a major upset, defeating Sonny Liston.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have with us, as you know, Princess Adeyinka Tekina. Now, the reason why we brought her here, because of one of my favorite beverages in the world, coffee. Oh, I love coffee. And we know you're the queen of coffee. Yeah. So tell us about coffee industry in Nigeria generally, because I know you have quite a bit of it. We'll talk about it later. Talk about coffee industry in Nigeria.
I always like to start with like very quick facts. And a lot of people don't know that 22 states in Nigeria grow coffee. 95% of more of what we drink in coffee is imported into our borders. And what that means is most of the coffee that is grown in Nigeria goes to waste every year.
Oh wow.
Yes. So that's first thing out. If you can check the customs report, we drink majorly imported coffee. And so when I got into the industry in 2015, I mean, I came thinking, oh, I'll just start a brand. But by the time I got in, I realized that there was no active value chain, meaning that farmers didn't have access to market. Lagos, as a matter of fact, can't grow coffee as well, because there are two major species of coffee in the world, which is Robusta and Arabica, and we're blessed with both. So Obudu, Jos, and Taraba, where this coffee comes from, grows Arabica coffee, and Robusta grows in Kogi, Southwest, all those states. But imagine that everything that we drink in coffee is imported.
Wow. I mean, let me let you guys jump in here.
Okay, so I'm surprised that you mentioned this, and I'm worried about, you know, how people are not tapping in. So we can't leave everything to government.
Yes.
How, you know, involved are Nigerians in intervening in this deficit that we have?
I think for me, having been in the industry for 10 years, what I see is a lot of times Nigerian consumers are not super educated in making decisive decisions based on knowledge. So that means I go into a supermarket, I see coffee, I pick it, I'm okay. And because I also look at it in the eyes of the value chain. Everybody is involved. It's not just the consumer. It's a value chain and there are stakeholders. And the stakeholders usually start from the government, because governments need to create policy. So for example, as an entire nation, we do not have one national policy that protects coffee. And what that means is coffee can come into our borders with no respect to local content, local farmers. So what it means is, look, for example, I always say this, what oil is to Nigeria is what coffee is to Brazil. Their GDP is majorly on coffee. Coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil, second most drank drink after water. In every home, there is a semblance of coffee. If you go to any kiosk, any malam, any mama in Nigeria, currently, you will see coffee. But why are we importing coffee into our borders when our backyard is filled with what we call in agriculture black oil? That's number one. Number two, Nigeria currently sits coffee under trade and investment. Coffee is an agricultural product or commodity. Why is she still under trade and investment?
Because it's just exports the coffee bean.
Initially, we were one of the highest exporters of coffee in the early 70s till we found oil. So what that means is, for now, coffee should have been moved under agriculture that would allow her to have research, have a commodity board, a lot of exportations can be done, investment in terms. But currently, we don't have a national policy. And what that signals to the private sector is, we won't invest. We will not. So in the past 30 years, there hasn't been $1 of investment in the coffee value chain in Nigeria.
That's what I would use to build the entire
Cocoa house. That was cocoa.
So
if you taste the coffee that we have in Nigeria, a lot of times when we have sent our coffee from Taraba to analysis across the outside the country, they always say it has a cocoa taste, and it's because coffee and cocoa used to go side by side in the early days, and a lot of the taste that it gets from the soil. So, and I have been clamoring for this for the last 10 years. 3 years ago, we were in the National Assembly trying to defend a policy for coffee. We do not know where that policy is. So for me, all the stakeholders need to be involved, especially the government. And that's the first rule. We need to have the president, you know, we've gone everywhere. The head of coffee has come to Nigeria 2 times that I know of. I was in his delegation. He has tried to talk to government officials, but I think this is the time we needed to take it to the office of the president. There has to be we have to look into coffee as a trading commodity and also as a local commodity for us.
We're going on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Entertainment to me is music. I love dancing. So I you know, cha-cha, salsa, hip-hop, contemporary African dance, and I love listening to music. So that's entertainment to me. And I love watching movies as well. So music, dance, and dance.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, Then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Formed our workplace.
Thanks for staying with us. So we say invest in Nigeria, and this is a woman who is Nigeria's brand indigenous premium coffee company owner. And because she did not pay for our marketing, we'll mention your brand name, but we just have to celebrate you because we like the fact that you're going into places that people aren't. So you talked about the challenges that we need policy. We need to be backed by federal government. What are some of the benefits of this industry? I mean, is it profitable for people to get involved in? I mean, how do we see the opportunities for people to get involved?
I like to say that when I joined the industry, let me start with myself and why this is important to me. I lost my dad when I was 16. When I was 21, I found my way to America. No daddy, no mommy. It took me 12 years to get my first degree. Wow. And after I struggled through that educational time in my life, I took a one-way ticket back to Nigeria. I just graduated from college in June, paid my way through school. I took a one-way ticket back to Nigeria. And anybody who knows me knows I'm very pro-Nigeria. From when I was knee-high, I've always told people that I believe in the future of this country. So when I finished, I took a one-way ticket back to Nigeria. And I've lived in Nigeria since 2009 when I came back. And it's because I believe that there is so much growth that can happen if some of us put our quota in. So when I joined this industry, you know, obviously I drank coffee in America as a student. It was beautiful, you know. But I also, in my research, when I was in school, I found out that Nigeria was growing coffee. So why is Nigeria not on the coffee global map? There's a global map. When you think Africa, when you think coffee, you think Kenya. You think Ethiopia, Nigeria was, I went to Ethiopia, I bought coffee. So when I found out that Nigeria was growing coffee and we were not promoting ours, it only made sense to me that we needed to do something about that value chain. And I started in 2015. I got funding, a 1 million naira funding from a foundation. I also won't mention their name. And this foundation was empowering young Africans who had ideas that could transform the continent. Wow. So for me, I am a living testimony to what coffee can do. Wow. It took me from zero to wherever I am today. Today, I'm the national president for Women in Coffee. I've represented the continent, Nigeria, even on global platforms when it comes to coffee. I speak on the promotion and development of this value chain because, I mean, like the young woman who made you coffee this morning, we have created employment for young Nigerians. The opportunities we have a program for women called The Better Woman, where we're empowering low-income women to have their own mini coffee spaces. We train people to be in that value chain, and we promote it. Like I said, coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil. So why shouldn't Nigeria be in that place, creating more employment? Yes, and creating employment for us and creating revenue for Nigeria.
Yeah. This is the coffee I'm drinking. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I know that this is delicious.
Yes. Thank you.
This is actually delicious. And you know, when you were talking, I thought I was going to be falling asleep, but I'm not. You know, I'm very interested because these are the kind of things we are talking about. These are the kind of things that we are not doing in our country, promoting this kind of thing. My partner loves coffee. He drinks coffee every morning. Now I know. I will never buy his coffee from abroad again. I will buy coffee from here.
Thank you,
it's true.
Thank you.
Exactly. So for me, it's delicious. It smells heavenly. But I wanted to ask, because I'm quite interested like in the health, you know, side of a lot of these things. And we recently found out that sometimes some of the coffee that we import, there are all sorts of chemicals in it, insecticides, pesticides. And I'm wondering what quality of coffee we have here in Nigeria and how is it different from the one abroad? That's in terms of health.
You know, for me, I think one of the most beautiful times to be alive is now, because there's just so much work going around us as a country in terms of entrepreneurship. Now, this coffee that you see here is what they call green coffee. Coffee comes like a cherry, it looks like a grapefruit, and they come in shrubs. And then once we harvest, we remove the skin and we get into green coffee. Now, from this to roasted coffee that you're having this one is just one process. I remember when we were trying to start processing our own coffee, we went everywhere even to look for funding. Nothing, absolutely nothing was available for me as an entrepreneur. But over the years as well, there's been a lot of side stories or myths around coffee, and it's because a lot of Nigerians have access to what we call instant coffee.
Yes.
That's why. And instant coffee is a processed type of coffee that requires a level of chemical preservatives to get it to that point. But where we are is what we call fresh brew, which is coffee straight from the farm to your cup. So I always liken it to orange juice. There is juice out of a box. There is juice that is freshly squeezed. You can't pay some of us to drink juice out of the box.
Yeah.
So this is so this is coffee literally
So how come
freshly
they have
from
three
farm to
different
cup?
colors?
So what happens is when we go through the roasting process, because they also have different characteristics when they're being planted and all of that, you will see the different colors here, but generally it's a roasting process. It takes about 7 minutes to get to this point from here. So, and this is what, this version is about 7 minutes. This goes to 8 minutes. So depending on the roast that you want, burnt.
Yeah, the manufacturing setup, how, is it expensive? Is it huge? Or is it something you can do like in a small space?
You can do it in a small space. We have different models that we've created as well. So if you were looking to starting your own coffee business, I mean, I've been here, I've committed 10 years of my life. And I always say that I'm committing the next 10 years before I run for the office of the president to building, and that everybody who knows me knows that. Nigerian deserves great leaders. Yes. And I think the future of our leadership will come from entrepreneurship. So I'm willing to dedicate another 10 years to building the strongest and the most powerful coffee brand out of Africa, out of Nigeria to the world. And when we have done that, the setup is, I would say, before machines were invented, people were drinking coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can teach, I mean, I hand roasted for 2 years before we got a grant to get us a machine. So it's not in the fancy, no, you start from where, and that's how I started. I started with 1 million, our brand has done, numbers. Yeah. So that's, like I said, I am a perfect example and a living testimony that on this continent, in this country, entrepreneurship can thrive. Start from where you are and build up. And that's
Can
what
I
I
just
believe.
ask, this green coffee,
Yes.
a lot of people that drink coffee, they prefer the ground one.
Yes.
And they don't have the machines to grind.
Yes.
How would they?
We do that as well. So if you want grounded coffee, our factory does the grounded packs as well. We are NAFDAC approved as well. So we have different styles. Some people buy it from this, roast it by themselves at home. Some people buy this. We supply to supermarkets, just improving the quality of drink.
So Saint's coffee
Can I just
is,
see that one?
Yes.
this coffee is,
this.
the other big brands that deal in coffee.
Yes.
How are you penetrating, how are you getting market people to pay, buy it for your own products internationally?
Now, there's a lot of issues at home. I don't like to look at the international market as, I mean, we got an article written by about us about 3 years ago. They called us a Starbucks copycat. Nigerians were upset, like, why would you even do that? But I say, they say imitation is the best form of flattery. Starbucks is someone that also inspired my journey as well. But for big brands, for us, it's a journey. So it's not starting now. We're building the premise for a big company, and we're doing it little by little from an indigenous brand. Penetration would happen eventually. Like I said, these are our 10th year. Some of these brands have been around for 50 years, 60 years. So we're on a journey, and eventually we'll get to market. But like I said, there has to be policy. But for me, there has to be policy that protects local content and local coffee. And hopefully the government will put that in place very soon. And then hopefully that will also give us the opportunity to compete with other global brands as well.
How about local competitors?
Yes.
How many of you are in Nigeria, and are you collaborating more than competing, or how does that work?
Thank you. That's so important. People know me. I collaborate with any coffee brand that you know. I think that all of us need to together build this space, and that's why we started the Coffee Festival as well. I know every brand, coffee brand owner in Nigeria. I call them, I reach out to them, because I feel like we need to band together to build. So I never look at them as competition. The only competition that I look at is the FMCGs. They know themselves. There needs to be, it's something like what happened to cassava.
FMCG?
Fast-moving products that do coffee. We will not mention them, but they need to be someone. Yes, they need to be someone. There has to be policy that protects local businesses so that more young women like myself can get into that value chain, or men or whoever needs to be there.
That's what
Please mention the minister.
as in charge of the matter.
Yeah, that needs to.
Because their KPI is right now.
They're about to
fired.
Thank
So
you.
let them call
that
out,
we need to talk
call
to.
out the
and
minister,
call out.
Minister Lagbaja.
So we need to talk to Minister Doris. She's the one in charge of coffee right now, which is trade and investment. But coffee needs to also be moved
Minister
under.
Doris, what's her surname?
There is that
Finder.
Yes.
trade and investment wasn't on the guidance.
Yes.
It's a tongue twister, so
yes.
that's why we
Get it to
just
agree.
stick to
We need to also get into a Greek. The presidency needs to look at what happened to the policy that was set.
70s.
I had that policy. I even amended it, but we need the government, we need the presidency at this point to look at it. Also, Nigeria needs to go back on the African platform as well. I've been representing the country for 4 years, and we haven't had any government representation. So we need Nigeria to come on board to begin to clamor for the growth of coffee in Nigeria.
Minister Doris
Uzoka.
Yes.
Anite.
Yes.
Uzoka Anite. That's her
Don't
name.
say why
Okay, so that's fantastic. I'm very happy that.
No, it's not Amebo, so she can quickly run and meet
she knows her name
you.
is
So
Doris.
she has KPI
Yes.
to give the president that I want to start investing in
No.
coffee.
Beyond just achieving something in our office, let her achieve something that outlives her. Let's get coffee back on the international market. A lot of things we have in this country. That's one of the reasons I'm totally engaged in this conversation.
Me too now.
We are killing local for everything foreign that is fast food.
My mother-in-law has hectares. She was from the family father. She was from a royal family, and what she got, I think 1 or 2 hectares of land, coffee, and she just abandoned it and just.
Because she cannot farm what she cannot sell now.
Yes.
You know, there's a culture with coffee which is.
We have to wrap up.
Oh,
the time has gone.
No, there are many things, though. I saw some rice from one village.
We're really
in Abia
excited
State.
and happy.
Rice, eh?
We are really excited
and hosting.
Happy that you came on the show.
Thank you.
And we thank you and we wish you the best in your business. And it's good to celebrate women.
When is the
who are
festival?
doing
It's in December.
in December. The first one is December. When you come around that time, you can come back again. We'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
It is just to give some awareness to that industry. Well done.
Thank you. Thank
That
you.
is all we
proud
can
of
take
you.
Thank you.
on the show today. Hope you learned a few things as we have. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.
We learned many things today.